hardcore, hard-ass motherfuckers. I was 16, 17 years old, and they wouldn't hesitate to come up and smack you in the back of the head if you did something. Like, I remember I left weights on a bench press, and I walked away, and a guy come up and just cracked me in the back of my head, and he's like, rack your fucking weights.
We need more of that in the world.
I'm like, yes, sir. That's what happened back in the day. And I don't want to sound like the old guy where I walked uphill backwards in the snow, barefoot in my, in the middle of the winter when it was, 15 degrees outside, but it was definitely a different world back then. There's shit that you could get away with now that you would never have gotten away with back then. There were no cameras to, not everybody was walking around with a cell phone to film every violation like that. You just got smacked in the head, and if you told somebody, they'd be like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's just kind of how it was. But yeah, definitely a different world. And I'm not saying that that's cool either. I'm not going to walk up and smack some 16-year-old in the back of the head. That's not cool, but that's just kind of the environment I came up with. And these motherfuckers, they wouldn't even talk to you until you've been in there for like a year or two and prove that you could work and hang. And then like they how you knew like you were kind of starting to be a part of the crews when they start busting your balls. They initially it was just like mean and not even really talk to you at all. And then like when they finally start acknowledging you and busting your balls, and you kind of knew you were in the inner circle. And then after a couple of years, they might, tell you, hey, here's some D-ball. but that's how I worked back in the day. And then, now anybody on the internet can do that shit, so it's, Richard, this is a great one. He's like, I cut my teeth in the Metroflex gym in Arlington under Brian in '88. I don't know of any other way to train than hardcore. Yeah, I think Brian doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, I have trained at Metroflex in Arlington, and it has the "don't fuck around here" vibe. Like, you once you get in there, like you better work hard, right?
Yeah,
you're the only guy in there who's not. If you're not,
well, it's not a coincidence that Branch Warren and Ronnie Coleman came out of that gym. So. No. Look, there is an intelligent way to train. Like I think about some of the meathead shit I did when I was younger, probably cost me a lot of the surgeries that I'm having now. So there's certainly a more intelligent way to do things, and I'm all for the more intelligent way of managing. There is some things that you need to manage when you're training hard, and you need, if you're constantly hurt, you're not going to make progress either. So you don't want to train to the point where you're blasting yourself apart and you can't sustain it. So that's not productive either. But look, there is some middle ground.
Yeah, it's almost like coming of age, kind of lifting a little stupid when you're younger, a little heavier than you.
Well, you're more resilient when you're younger. I mean, I remember Dante Trudell said, when you're 19, you go to a frat party and jump off the roof of the house into the pool and drink tequila all night long and get up and go to the gym the next morning. You're just fine. If you try to do that shit at 40, you'd be in the hospital or 50. Yeah, that ain't working. So that's the time to go balls out when you're young. Like that's why, it kind of like, to me, like with the young guys, I'm like, just go fucking all in, find out where your limits are at, test them out, and then dial it in from there.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the funner lifting too.
Yeah. I mean, enjoy it too. I miss that. I wish I could do like the heavy, hardcore, progressive overload, compound movement stuff that I used to do. I miss that. I miss being able to pick up basketball games. I miss being able to go out and play backyard tackle football. But my old ass body doesn't tolerate that anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's weird getting to an age where you look at a barbell bench press and you're like, yeah, I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm one set away from ripping my pec off.
Well, it took me until about 43, 44 to realize that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I can't. Well, when I got back into training at 42, I tried to train like I did at 32, and it didn't fucking work at all. like heavy compound movements. It worked for a little while, and then I was like getting hurt all the time, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. This doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for you can still injure yourself when you're young like that, but you just don't know that you got the injury until you're 40 or 50.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for that too. I remember having Mike Israetel on, and he made a good point. He's like, is that one set worth the rest of your life?
Right.
I mean, that's an evaluation that you have to make at all times. Like that's a good point.
Well, it's literally why I quit, barbell benching. I enjoyed it. It was effective for me, but 1 out of every 10 sets, I felt like I was about to tweak something, or you felt uncomfortable. And the last thing you want to do is, not be comfortable under a heavy barbell, especially when you're worried about injury or whatnot. And then sometimes you get strong enough where your body can't handle your strength to a point too, gets a little more dangerous.
Yeah, I went through that with squats. I injured myself when I was younger with 5 plates on either side, probably doing the worst looking squat that anybody's ever seen in their life anyway.
Right.
But later on, when I really wanted to squat, I could never get back up there. And even when I was doing well, I might put 3 plates on either side, but it was only a matter of time before I was back in the chiropractor's office. And I remember going through some rehab and trying to get coached through doing the movement properly and trying to get back to squatting. And finally I just said, you know what, I just can't squat anymore. Plus I look like a wimp when I'm standing under, 2 plates. 135 pound barbell looks difficult. It's not exactly the way to look cool.
That was a good one, Tanya. 1 rep will never make you, but it can break you. I like that.
Very true. Very true.
Trying to pull up. Wanted to talk about Mike Sommerfeld. I saw his recent pics, but stupid Instagram is not working. I can't get it to load on my computer.
Yeah, he's a wild shape. He's one of those. It's like, I don't know how he's going to make his weight class like Urs. Sometimes it's amazing how they make their weight class and look so fresh and so good.
Yeah, that's called being young. These guys that start early, like that doesn't work when you get older. Oh, that's another thing that doesn't work when you get older.
What, making
I can pull up Instagram if you want, Paul. My Instagram is working.
Yeah, I have no idea why I can't. There was a picture he posted the other day. I can't get the damn thing to work.
And I believe for his height, he's got to be in the 190s or mid 190s.
It's the one on the right.
Wow.
I mean, he could step on an open stage like right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that first pick, he looked crazy. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Is anybody going to beat him?
I don't know. I saw Ramon, some updates from Ramon. He was looking pretty wild right now, too.
I mean, Ramon always looks great. He's it's funny. There's Ramon in his comments. I don't know. Man, what a great physique. It's wild how his V taper and his X frame is just the craziest.
Insane.
He's like got such a small weight. He's like this, like kind of like hybrid between classic and open.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looks more like an open guy to me, or a 212.
Yeah, I'd agree. And he's got this nice balance of roundness to his muscle, and it gets hard and dense. It's really just balanced all around. It's hard to pick out anything on him.
No, I'd say he's about as perfect of a bodybuilder as you can get.
And he seems to always nail his conditioning too. Like every time you see him on stage, it's
Wasn't Stefan Kinzel his coach? I mean, that guy always brings people in tight.
He's with Neil.
Oh, he's with Neil. Well, Neil's another one. Neil's probably you don't hear much out of Neil, but Neil's quietly maybe one of the best, if not the best, coaches in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
He really like walks the line with keeping guys big as fuck and getting them hard. Like that's really difficult to do. So difficult to do. I think I've been getting better at it this year. I definitely have improved my results on prep this year. I've been bringing guys in better this year. I like I'd say the big lessons I've learned is to just get ready early. Just be ready early. Just be ready 2 weeks out. This is hilarious. You're funny. Get me hard, Paul. Coaching packages are available at anabolicbodybuilding.com. Depends on the type of hardness you're looking for.
Well, you're right. What a difference it's made. Like I've made a big emphasis on trying to balance like kind of like a fresh prep with people in the sense of not running them into the ground, but getting them there as early as possible. And the earlier you get people there, you get that opportunity to really freshen them up a couple of weeks before the show and pull back cardio. And it's really eye-opening to me as a young coach to see what a difference that does to somebody's look.
Yeah. And I might have posted about it earlier this week, but it's like at local bodybuilding shows you see, and I've been to a ton this year. I've been going to shows like 3-4 a month. This month I've been to one every week, from pro to national show to local shows. But like at local shows, there's definitely a big difference between national shows and local shows. At regional shows, there's really only a couple of guys that nail it. Usually that's it. There's just a couple of guys that nail it, and everybody else either has. There's two types that are there: the ones that have just severely over dieted, that they think that outworking everybody's going to win them the show, and they just end up looking emaciated and awful on stage. You see those people, and then there's the other type that's worried they're losing all their muscle and getting flat and constantly taking refeeds, and they look like they're 8 weeks out, and usually neither one of them can pose. And the guys that win shows, local shows, usually are the ones that are in shape. They're shredded, and they have a nice balance of being in shape and full, and they can pose. Now on the national stage, then everybody is in shape. Everybody can pose for the most part. There might be a couple people on the last call out that maybe aren't quite ready to be there, but then it becomes a battle of genetics and who has the most muscle. But even still, the guys that are in the center generally are the ones that are in best condition for the most part
and compose, right? Because we see crappy posing on a pro show, and there was plenty of crappy posing at the national level too.
Oh yeah, there were a lot. I mean, you definitely see it at pro shows. I saw it. I was down at the Tampa Pro, and there were some pros out there that couldn't pose. That is for sure.
Yeah.
There were definitely some guys that cost themselves some placings because their posing was terrible.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching any of Justin Jacoby's athletes?
No.
Yeah, he seems to be. I don't know if he took over a lot of Matt Jansen's clients, because he used to work with Matt Jansen, and then.
Oh yeah. I have seen. Yeah. He was Matt's one of Matt's guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to look at the post that Hadi posted this week?
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
His most recent physique is pretty awesome.
I mean, he's a freak.
Yeah, look at that. I really hope that he makes it to the Olympia stage this year, because I'd love to see him just in that lineup, especially with Nick looking so good this year. Like, I mean,
is there a green card problem or something that might keep him from competing again this year, or is that?
I think there's always a little bit of an issue with the guys coming from the Middle East.
I think it's the travel ban,
potential. Yeah.
Traveling ban or something with some political scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
I forget it. I forget exactly what it is, but
we all need to write the president and let him know that Hadi's okay.
Yeah, he's more than okay. He's insanely ripped.
Well, I do know that. I do know once you've been, you've come over here to the U.S., the States a few times. It's a little easier process than your first go around. So I think he's got some sort of an advantage from what I've heard there.
Well, the current political environment, I don't want to get into politics, but it's harder to come in as a foreigner right now than what it was
Right.
previously. So
Right.
there's more hurdles to cross. But that's just how it is right now.
Yeah, and apparently Honey Rambod's helping him out just because he's one of his athletes too, and he's kind of helped him with this process of the travel. So hopefully,
Yeah,
that'd be great. It'd suck to see a
I mean,
top 3 guy not make it.
we're in a quasi war with Iran right now.
Yeah.
So
Well, the IFBB has a guy too that does a lot of that stuff for him,
yeah,
immigration stuff and getting visas and getting athletes here.
I would imagine it's even more difficult coming from Iran right now.
Mhm. Tina wanted us to look at Missy Truscott's win. She switched over to figure from
Oh.
fitness this year.
I saw she looked amazing.
You look
Look
great.
at that. Ah, especially coming back from her knee injury. I mean, she brought up her legs so much. I mean, she just looked incredible. I wish there was a better picture of it.
I need to get Missy on sometimes. I know her and her husband listen to us.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And she's a wonderful person.
She looks so good.
You want to talk about hard work?
Yeah.
Watch that girl work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After she blew her knee out, she's back in the gym right away, going at it.
It wasn't even 1 year later, right? And she was back on the Olympia stage.
Yeah, not even a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked amazing. Oh,
Yeah, just somebody who stays cool. She seems like she keeps a level head. That's another important thing too. Staying, not getting too high, not getting too low. Being persistent and just working your balls off every day. That's kind of the recipe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she killed it.
she looks so good. Yeah. Awesome. Another woman who recently changed categories is Meg Santa Barbara. She switched over to women's physique or women's physique division, and she won her show. I think, what was the show last week? Was it Atlanta that she won at?
Yeah, I think there was an Atlanta show. Yep.
Yeah, she looked really good switching over. I think she tried wellness last and then switched to WPD. So the ladies are bulking up.
You know who impresses me is that I think it's Shanique Grant that went from 2-time women's physique division Olympian to wellness, and she won her first wellness show. She looks like a completely different human.
Shanique Grant.
Yeah. Shanique Grant, I think she won the Olympia twice at physique, and she ended up transferring over to wellness, and it's mind-blowing. It's 2 different people. She's one of those that just look like she was born for it. Yeah, Missy's a good shape too. I mean, it's almost like she was meant to be figure the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought she looked like figure. I mean, she's got those giant shoulders.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's a pretty easy jump from fitness. I mean, I say easy, and ironically the jump, but to go from fitness to figure, because the posing is somewhat similar with the quarter turns, and some of the posing is really close. It's just kind of bringing up that size overall to kind of accentuate everything, and not have to, do a gymnastics routine during your show.
You don't have to stay light enough to launch yourself up in the air.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't even, the prep for that. I mean, watching those fitness girls like do hours of gymnastics training a day, plus the weightlifting, plus the dieting. I mean, I talk about like an elite type of athlete, just an incredible combination of skills.
Yeah. I tell you what, the Olympia is going to be something to watch this year. I mean, the level of athletes just in the open bodybuilding is crazy, but then you've got so many people in so many divisions that are just like Missy, who's never been in this division before, is going to be on the Olympia stage, and it's just going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. gonna be super exciting. I'm still not sure if I'm going to go because I'll be pretty deep in prep at that point, but so tempting and it's so close for me. I mean, to get to Vegas is only like an hour flight, so it's like, how can I not go?
It's easy.
Mike, are you going to be back out there? What have you decided what you're going to do for your off season? Where you're going to
Well, I'm
stay?
definitely going to be out there for the Olympia. I have my tickets already, and I left my RV in storage there, so I'll have that to stay in. It's really looking like now that Justin didn't qualify for the Olympia, that he's going to actually get his gym open. So they're doing more work down there, and he's got some. Did a post the other day where he's got more new equipment coming in, so hopefully it won't be a thing. But in any case, I'll do what I have to do. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I'll definitely be at the Olympia.
How deep in the prep will you be, Amy?
I'm planning for a show November 15th, so I'll be about 4 weeks out.
Yeah, that's a tough spot.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's just that like kind of bad spot. I mean, this is a different prep for me. I feel like I've always been ready early. In fact, the last 2 years I've actually done a show earlier because I was ready earlier. I don't think it's going to be that way this year, so I'm a little bit more nervous about those last 4 weeks, kind of needing them, like really needing them.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And Vegas is a hard place to diet, just speaking from experience.
Well, last year, I mean, I brought all my own food to the Olympia last year. Because I drove, so I literally brought everything.
Because you're a crazy person.
So, yeah. So I brought all my own food and 8,000 cookies.
Well, that's usually me. This is the very first trip I've taken in probably 2 years that I do not have a diet scale in my suitcase. It's kind of wild.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Mike. How is Portugal? Like, how has it been?
Well, I'm in Spain now. I'm in Barcelona
Spain.
today. Yeah. Portugal wasn't a place that was ever on the radar for us as far as like places we wanted to visit, but we were really pretty charmed by Portugal. The people there are great. Food was good. We had a great experience. So.
Wow, that's awesome.
Our first day in Spain has been kind of a rest day. This is the second podcast I've done today, and I'm editing a video that I made at Mr. Big, which is supposedly the largest bodybuilding gym in Europe. It's in Lisbon.
How was it?
Oh God.
That good?
Yeah, if you can imagine, Paul, all that headroom that they have at the zoo, if they built terrace after terrace and just kept putting new floors full of the same density of equipment, that's Mr. Big. That's crazy. Cool. Yeah. Our video will be up tomorrow. You guys should check it out. That gym is something else. And they host the big Olympia qualifier in that part of Europe and everything there. So there's definitely the culture is there. Bodybuilding culture is there for sure.
What's some of the best food you've had now that you've been in Europe?
You know what's funny is here's what's very noteworthy is that McDonald's is a lot different here.
I've heard that.
Home. Yeah, the beef tastes better. It's like probably more natural, I'm sure. The ketchup is different. It's a little sweeter than I like, but I think not having all the food additives. The EU is kind of a little more strict with that than the US. So McDonald's is definitely a different experience. The food's been delicious, but it's just they eat smaller portions over here. So I'm like, I'll eat out, and they're like, okay, I still need a McDouble. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you hear a lot. People that come from Europe or different places, they go to the States and they're just like, the food's different. It's, they feel a little crappier after staying here for a couple of weeks, eating the same things, and it's not exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, even on chicken, you go to the grocery store and you buy chicken, it's all pumped up with whatever fluid they put in it, right? Which is kind of unfair, right? Because we're buying that stuff by the pound.
Yeah.
Right.
The chicken breasts are smaller over here, right?
It drives me crazy though. When I go to Walmart, when I get the cod that they pack, they weigh it with the package. So when I'm paying, whatever, $9.99 a pound for cod, they're weighing it with the package.
That's lame.
Yeah.
I don't think they can
man.
do that. I think there's like issues.
I weigh it every time because it drives me insane. Some stores do it, and some don't, but it'll say like whatever 0.9, and I'll weigh it raw, and it's not the case. And I put the package on, and it's exactly what it says.
Don't they understand that if our coach says we need 8 ounces of cod, it's 8 ounces of cod. I need 2 servings in this package.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody says Oikos does that too. So like they've never
Some do.
actually weighed out the individual cup. Now I'm interested. Like, so there's not actually 6 ounces of yogurt in that cup. It's 6 ounces plus, or like 5 point whatever.
Yeah.
They're
Plus
still
the
in their
cup.
gains. They're still in their gains, man.
Like 30 grams of packaging. That's not okay. Well, but then are the macros correct? So are the macros off on the package by the same
I don't
amount?
know. I haven't gotten that far, but probably because
I mean-
they're counting the package's weight and nutritional value. It's weird because I would cook it. I'd be like, this isn't right, because like I usually do everything cooked measurements, and I understand that can be a little different if you dry something out a little more when you're cooking it, but for the most part, what you're, if you're pretty close. Yeah. And I started weighing the package. I'm like, they're weighing my fish with the package. It's not the exact same thing. It drives you nuts. But
yeah, I've noticed that, but buying ground beef before too. There's some stores where you buy it and it's not like that. But
yeah, some don't do it. Some do. Try it next time. If it looks suspect, the package, put the whole package on your scale, and if it says 5 pounds and that's what the sticker says, they're weighing it with the package. Drive you nuts.
Shady.
Yeah. Now my Instagram DMs are going to get blown up with pictures of everyone exposing different stores.
You just created a scandal right here live on AB.
Yeah.
Yes. So Carolyn, that's true. The FDA does allow for a variance.
Yeah.
20%.
That's a big variance.
Plus or minus 20. Plus or minus 20%. So it could be 40 off either. There's a 40-point swing.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like you always know, and this stuff, you say this all the time, Paul. This stuff's not made in a lab. Like we don't.
No.
You can only be so exact with the science.
Honestly, the processed food is probably the most accurately. The macros are probably the most accurately represented on your box of Frosted Flakes than it is on a pack of chicken or anything else.
Yeah. That's why I like measuring it cooked, because I understand I'm usually cooking the same consistency. I'm not cooking my chicken drier one time or a little bit more moist the next. It's very consistent. So I'll weigh that, where when you get something raw, like Mike says, it could be pumped up full of fluids. It could be a little bit different. They could be measuring the package. Who knows? Yeah. Anything to steal our money. Rip us off a little bit.
Yeah. Shrinkflation.
Yeah.
Just make the packaging heavier.
Just in case anybody's worried, there's no alcohol in this mojito.
Of course not.
I'm not on a relapse or anything.
Paul, how's your shoulder doing, man? I've been meaning to catch up.
It's slow. Progressing slow. I mean, the doctor still doesn't want me lifting weights, so that's how it is. They said I can do up to 15 pounds of resistance on that side. But what the fuck is 15 pounds doing? I've been doing a little more than 15, but still. What I've been doing, is just doing basically, like, I get on machines where you can load each side individually. And so I'll put my full load on the right side and I'll put like 20, 30 pounds on the left side. Like, let's say if I'm doing a chest press, and then so that way, hopefully I'm getting some sort of neurological activation that prevents atrophy. But if the physical therapist and the doctor were both like, we're shocked at how much, like, you really haven't had any atrophy, like very, very minimal atrophy. And I'm like, yeah, I actually fucking work out. That's why, like, most schlubs are just sitting around not doing anything post-surgery, or they go and do the weak ass shit at physical therapy. I think I pissed the physical therapist off this week. I told her, I'm like, look, just do the body work, just do the massage, the stem, electrostim, and I can do the working out on my own. And she's like, you don't like the exercises we're doing? And I'm like, don't take this the wrong way, but like, this shit's a joke. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. She's like, all right, well, we'll amp it up today. And I think she made it her mission to destroy me with the pink bands. And she did. She definitely put me through it.
I'm laughing because I made the same mistake.
Yeah, so she definitely got her revenge on me.
For little pink weight revenge.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're going to incorporate any warming up these days? Like, I know, none of us are the best at warming up and kind of like.
Yeah, Dr. Marv gave me his whole shoulder warm-up routine, and it takes about 10-15 minutes to go through it, but it definitely helps.
Yeah.
So I've been putting that in before my workouts, and it's definitely helped.
That's good. What helped me was one little thing. Like, I learned from John Meadows, instead of like, I used to warm up, like maybe if I was warming up chest, I'd go do like a fly or a pec deck, right? And I'm really just kind of isolating the muscle I'm about to go train, where he was kind of reinforcing the idea of maybe getting like a machine press or like a pin loaded press, where you can get like your actual ligaments of your joints and your elbows and your shoulders, like not just the target muscle warmed up, but you're getting the joints and everything kind of filled up with blood. And that definitely helped me. And I kind of realized, like, I do that with legs. Why wasn't I really doing that with upper body? It was kind of like a stupid thing I never really thought of in my warm up, but just getting the joints more warmed up more than the muscles definitely been helpful for me with my upper body movements.
Yeah, I mean, it's another thing you got to do more of when you're older. I've always been shitty about warming up. I just fucking go in and just jump right into my working. I'll do, like, I'm terrible with warm up sets. Like, I'll do like one warm up set and then I'm on my heavy weight. And that's just kind of the way I've always done things. It's probably not the smartest approach. I'll do 45 pounds and then jump straight to 400. But my thought process was, when it, like, you look at guys moving furniture and picking up heavy shit in factories and construction workers. It's not like they're warming up with the 25-pound couch first before they pick up the 300-pound couch. They just go straight to the 300-pound. So, like, how much do you need to really warm up? I don't know. I'm not an exercise physiologist. It's probably a really dumb bro take on things, but that's always kind of been my mentality. I'm like, the guy working in the factory that's, picking up heavy spools of wire, he's not warming up before he picks up that spool of wire. He's just getting it done.
Mm. Well, some guys just mentally touching the weight, as they call it, like Justin Shire, he'll put like a deadlift, he'll do 2 plates, he'll work up to his, like, whatever, 5 plates for a deadlift, but he'll just do 2 reps of the 2 plates, 2 or 3 reps of 3 plates. They call it just touching the weight as they slowly make their way up. So they're kind of acclimating that way. Not really a warm up, but mentally too. So whatever really floats your boat.
Paul, the Second Amendment wants to know what shoulder injury you had.
Well, it was really a bicep injury that fucked my shoulder up. I didn't know that could be a thing, but my bicep, the large head of the bicep, the tendon was popping off of the groove in the joint up in the shoulder, and it did what's, because it was sliding out of that, it got stretched at some point. I think probably jujitsu, to be honest with you. I think I got a caught in a shoulder lock in jujitsu and stretched it out. And so that thing's been loose. And then what it does, they call it a slap tear, where that thing slides out of the groove, the bicipital groove, I think they call it, in the shoulder, and then smacks your labrum. And then eventually you end up with this tear in your labrum, in the center of your labrum, from the bicep tendon sliding out. And then the bicep tendon also, from years and years and years of just repetitive being sliding out of place, it frayed it up. And it was only like 20% of the bicep tendon left. So I had a torn labrum. My supraspinatus was frayed up. They just cleaned it up, and then they just went in and cleaned up the joint while they were in there. Cleaned up. There were some pieces of cartilage that were torn and just shit. Basically, just wear and tear.
lifting shoulder,
Yeah.
bodybuilder problems.
Mm.
You guys ready for questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. First one's an easy one for Dave. What was your max bench?
Oh, geez. The most I ever remember for maybe, I never really did 1 rep. I'd always try to make sure I could do at least like 2 or 3 and call it my max. But I remember being over like 420 to 430, and I think that's about as far as I got. 4 plates and a little bit of extra weight. But that was the problem. I literally got to a point where you'd have to work yourself up to 4 plates to get your last set done, and I'd always feel something 1 out of every 10 times about to feel like it's tearing or ripping with Velcro, and it scared the hell out of me. I gave up. I had one time where I could literally hear it with my headphones on. It felt like there was almost a Velcro. I was like, oh my God.
That's
That
not
was
good.
fun. Yeah.
Fibers are just ripping apart.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I was just about to rack it, and I was getting slow, and Jackie could see my face, and she helped me rack it, and I could hear a little, literally
Okay,
felt like
Jackie.
Velcro in my head. Yeah. So I gave up on benching after that.
Wise.
I think my all-time, I never did a lot of flat benching. I mean, Colin used to work out with me, but spot me on lifts. But I in my 30s, I got up to where I could get a few reps with 405 on flats. Like I could get like 5 or 6. I think back in my 40s when I got back up to it, I got up to where I could get 365 for 8. I was up to doing 365 for 8. I having long arms, I'm a strong presser. I always have been.
I think my max flat bench was like 95. Maybe 100.
Almost in the triple digits, Amy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one is from USA ASU. Can you talk about the use of Clen in a prep? Dosing per day, per week, ramp up? I've heard some people say use it daily, others say cycle. Second day, like 2 days on, 2 days off, due to the long half-life. It does have like a 36-hour half-life.
Yeah, there was some old school bro stuff that the beta 2 receptor would downregulate after a period of time, but that's just, from what I understand, that's just proven not to be true. I think what it is some of the side effects. People were mistaking the side effects that you get initially from it. Now it does seem to, I don't know, maybe there is some down regulation because you do have to crank the dose up as you go for it to remain effective. But I that old thing of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 5 days on, 5 days off, whatever the fuck people used to do, I don't do that. It doesn't seem like, when you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. So I usually ramp up. I don't go super high with it. Like I found somewhere up around, I start off with 20 for a week, then I'll go up to 40, then I'll go up to 60, and usually I end up somewhere in 60 to 80 micrograms.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's a selective beta agonist, beta 2, if I remember correctly. So in theory, it shouldn't be as bad on your heart as, say, ephedrine is. Ephedrine is non-selective. But you also, in theory, with ephedrine, it's probably a better fat burner. So, so you shouldn't get all the hypertension and all the other issues that that ephedrine causes. Now, will get, sometimes your pulse will go up, but it's really weird with Clen. Clen can actually make your blood pressure drop, and you have these acute. People will talk about it like you stand up and you feel like you're going to pass out sometimes with Clen. You have these acute bouts of hypotension, and your pulse will go up as well. So it's a really odd drug. I've been kind of leaning people away from it this year. I've been messing around more with SLU, retatrutide, maybe some MOTS-C. I think those might be safer, but from my anecdote, from what I've seen, that Clen is still, in my opinion, the king of fat burners when you talk about side effects versus benefits. I just don't think there's anything that works better than Clen still.
No, but you make a good point. A lot of people kind of compare, like, if they're no longer feeling those side effects, to call them, of the jitters or kind of the stimulatory sensation that it's not working any longer. And I think that's definitely not the case. I've had the same dose running for 2 or 3 weeks and not have to escalate and feel like my progress is still coming along, and I don't, the jitters have far past gone. And so yeah, just kind of track your progress more than your side effects, I guess. Just make sure you're not letting those get out of hand.
I think it was Lyle McDonald that postulated an idea of running a beta agonist of nebivolol with clenbuterol to kind of balance some of that out, because nebivolol is more selective to the beta 1 from what I recall, and clenbuterol is selective to the beta 2, so it really should. There is some cross over to the beta 1 with clenbuterol, but it's not as strong as say ephedrine. But I'd heard that may, I don't know. I run a beta blocker, so I'm on a beta blocker even when I'm on clenbuterol. I would be worried about the acute drops in blood pressure, but I mean that's something I've heard postulated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Our next one is from Rise41. How do pros afford to train and travel, etc., and make a living doing this? I'm trying to understand the business model and can't make it work in my head, even with sponsorships.
Other drug dealers. That's how they do it. Most of them.
Allegedly.
I'll do the math for you. 1 + 1 = 5.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. There's also some. I don't want to get too. I got to be careful what I say on my YouTube channel, since because the radar's on me. But there was some guys that would get friendly with some other dudes that would support them in the past. There was that too. It used to happen quite a bit in bodybuilding. There are people out there that there's some weirdos out there that will financially support bodybuilders. I'll just say that.
I have seen this on social media, like on Instagram, people like asking for donations for their prep. Like, I find that ridiculous. But someone I follow, a bikini competitor I follow, just did that. Like, trying to get to nationals, but it's going to be really expensive. So, like, if you guys want me to go, here's my Cash App. I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people will donate money to anything, I guess.
I just
good.
I don't want to be that guy, but people already hate me, so why not? But like, if you're pandering for people to pay for your contest prep on GoFundMe, you might want to reevaluate your life. I don't know.
Or just go on OnlyFans and sell pictures of your feet.
Yeah, people seem to like my feet on contest prep. I'm sure I probably could make some money doing that. All kidding aside, I mean, if guys are savvy with social media, and they have some like, that's the thing now. Like, supplement companies really just don't straight up sponsor people anymore unless they have some value to contribute. But if you have a big social media following and you're clever with social media, you can make I'm not anybody special. I'm not like on the Olympia stage. I make a pretty damn good living from this stuff. You can make quite a bit of money from coaching, from consultations, from sponsorships if you're promoting supplements. Like I probably should do more of it. There's the ethics around discount codes for various things. I know YouTube doesn't like you when you do that, so you can't really promote it on YouTube. But there is that whole discount code culture too, where guys make money. But it's not like one big pile of money from anywhere. You make $1,000 here, a couple thousand there, and before you know it, you've got enough to support yourself. And most of these guys don't have kids or a family either. The large majority, the guys, I'm trying to think of any of the guys on the Olympia stage in the Open. Do any of them have kids?
Derek,
yeah. A couple maybe. Yeah,
There's quite a few with kids, but I think a lot of guys retire to start the family. You see a lot of that.
Sure.
yeah, they don't do it until afterwards. But I mean, if you're on the Olympia stage, you're making good money, probably. You should be anyway. If you're not, then you're doing something seriously wrong. If I can make a six-figure living from doing this, there's no excuse for an Olympia competitor not to be making that much.
Yeah, guest posing and things like that. Someone told me, tried to tell me how much they gave Michael Hearn to come guest pose at the Emerald Cup, and I was surprised by how much money that was.
It's probably what, $3 to $5 grand or something.
It was more than that. There was a couple more zeros behind that. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if it's true or not. It's unverified.
Hey, good for him though. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I always looked at it like however far I wanted to take this hobby of bodybuilding on my own end, I had to be able to supplement it. So at the time when I was just, I had to be able to afford a gym membership, some supplements, some extra food. I'd coach a few people and then just escalate it the further I went to wanting to travel to shows, afford to go to an Arnold. I had to step up my game. So what I never wanted to do was take money from something else just to supplement my hobby. So I kind of looked at it like just grow within my means. But if you're able to be a little crafty, yeah, you could coach a few people, write up a few programs. Jackie helps people with posing all the time. There's always something. If you're willing to put the work in, you can make a couple bucks at it for sure.
SM said, I'm honestly surprised more bodybuilders haven't hopped on OnlyFans. There are. There are a few.
There are a few, yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely.
Well, I think the internet overall has changed the game for people, and for the best too. It's like you don't have to be that top level Olympia athlete now to get a sponsorship. You don't have to be that top guy to get some people to look at you. With the social media and the way that it is, just anybody who has something interesting to say or has a great story to share and knows how to share it can actually make some money at this stuff. And really, I mean, compare that to other sports out there, right? Like, because sports are the same either way. I mean, nobody's paying, the next big NFL name nobody's paying his parents for all the camps they sent him to, or all the extra coaches that they paid for, or whatever else it takes to get to that point. You spend a whole lot of money on cars and car parts as a race car driver before anybody ever gives you puts a sticker on the side of your car. So
yeah, I mean, it takes a long time. I mean, it's but yeah, the internet and social media has definitely leveled the playing field. I've heard some of the older bodybuilders complaining about not having sponsorships and not being able to just treat bodybuilding as a full-time job anymore. And that was there were some guys that made a good living that way, but it was very few. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was only like the top 10, 15 guys, maybe top 5 that would actually make money that way. Nobody else. Now there's a more level playing field. If you can bring value to a company, they'll pay for that value. But if you suck on social media, like, there's a reason why, and nothing to disparage Big Ramy, but like, nobody's paying for sponsorships with him because he's not on social media. He doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. Which is probably his prerogative. He probably living a happy life. He does. Believe me, I get it. Like, social media can be a real fucking pain in the ass sometimes. I believe me, there's days I wake up and I'm like, do I really want to be on here anymore? Because especially like this week. Mm-hmm. There's weeks like that where I'm just like, yeah, maybe I'll just say fuck this and just hang it all up and go do my thing. But I'm a fighter. But yeah, it's leveled the playing field. If you're savvy with it, you can make quite a bit of money. I mean, like a really good living. You can make a really good, you can make, just with coaching alone, you can make 200 plus grand a year. So it's there's a good living if you're good at it. Now, there are some pros out there that are just getting by on their name alone. I do know that.
Or some people who may or may not have gotten pro cards just because they brought that name to the stage.
Yeah. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got up next?
Got a quick one from Lindsay. Have you heard of heliosublingual and sublingual L-carnitine? Thoughts?
That's called
Um,
Clomid.
no, you can possibly do Healy. I don't know. It's in a suspended solution. It's in it's an alcohol-based solution. I don't know. I've never heard of anybody doing that. I don't know why you would do it that way. Just take
Just do the injection.
just do the injection. The whole reason you inject L-carnitine versus taking it taking it orally is, from what I understand, L-carnitine doesn't survive metabolism very well, so it needs to be injected. That's why it's not that effective. Like, you can't really digest it that effectively.
Yeah. I would wonder about the bioavailability of a sublingual, especially if it's kind of it's not the norm. And if someone's kind of doing a one-off on it, if they've actually proven its bioavailability, would be, I don't know if I spend the money on something that.
Want to look up the bioavailability of yeah. So here it is. L-carnitine is only absorbed at about 5% of the rate that it is orally, that it is injected. So
yeah, that's a lot of money.
So the rest is broken down in the gut and intestinal bacteria and produces TAMO, a byproduct which is also linked to cardiovascular risk. When injected intramuscularly and absorbed, it bypasses the digestive tract, leading to more complete bioavailability and less toxicity. So there you go. And we definitely have learned, you can ask Mike, that intramuscular injections of L-carnitine are the way to go, not oral.
Can be problematic.
Yeah, I knew it was low. I didn't realize it was only 5%.
Yeah, just think like how much you'd have to spend to get enough taken orally versus just using an injection.
I know taking anything sublingually, I know it seems to come up a lot as a topic. I mean, is there really anything out there that is more efficacious sublingually than it is in any other way? I mean,
Nicotine.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, there are definitely drugs that are more effective sublingual. But I think the molecular structure has to be such that it can pass into the bloodstream through sublingual administration. If the molecular structure is not correct, then it won't. Like, from what I understand, like Anavar, like all these people doing Anavar sublingually, the molecular structure of it is such that it just doesn't even get absorbed sublingually. It needs to be, I think, suspended in an alcohol solution for that to work.
Yeah, Josh says nitroglycerin. That's true. If you want immediate onset of something, perhaps sublingual is the way to go in some cases.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. This is not a question. I just want to give a shout out to Larry because he's looking insane and he's 2 weeks out, right on track, which is amazing. Can't wait. Gets in incredible shape.
Larry had a skin cancer debacle. I've been there, Larry. I don't know if it was a melanoma or what, but I've had 2 melanomas. Gotta stay out of the tanning bed, stay out of the sun, and no melanotan.
Yeah. All right. From Trevor, endurance cyclist wanting to add EQ to cycle on 500 test. E2 is way low at sub 10. Besides D-ball, how can I safely raise that?
HCG, more testosterone. If you're a cyclist, you're probably going to have low estradiol anyway, just from being so lean. That's probably going to be a thing with it. And then I think, I don't know. I mean, I would go by how you feel too. And if you feel okay, your endurance is okay. You could always, I'm not suggesting this. I've heard that cyclists do this. Rather than taking EQ, they use EPO. So that is something that cyclists have been known to do. One very famous one, Lance Armstrong. EPO won't crush your estrogen.
Worked pretty well for him.
Yeah, I am not saying to do that. If you want to watch the documentary Icarus on Netflix, it's very good. The Russian chemist that worked with Lance Armstrong is it's about him, and it's a pretty fascinating documentary. They kind of talk through the protocols.
Yeah. All right. From Lucas for Paul. What do you like to do with calories and cardio on an off-season deload week?
I generally leave both in place in the off season. I may drop down to one high day, but really the purpose of the deload, and if you've gotten to the point where you need to deload, is you need to recover. And if you're lowering your caloric intake, that's probably not helping recovery.
Kind of defeats the purpose of doing a deload if you're
kind
just
of
putting yourself into a deficit.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought process on it. It also depends on how fat you are too. Sometimes, like with carb cycling, all the extra carbs can really cause a lot of water retention and inflammation. So sometimes I will yank those down on a deload, just or do one high day or no high days and just run isocaloric diet. But I prefer to leave it in if we can, because it's probably going to be beneficial.
What about you guys? Dave, is that what you usually do with your clients too?
Yeah, I usually go just a slight surplus and just pretty much back people off for a whole week. I have had a few scenarios where somebody just needs like their legs a little extra time, and we might just deload the front half of their week where they're doing their leg training. But yeah, pretty similar to what Paul does. Cardio, yeah, pretty much. It depends on the scenario, but I usually just back off of it a little bit.
If I'm really nuked or somebody's really nuked, I'll just tell them to take a whole fucking week off. Just take a break. Go on a vacation, eat whatever you want within reason. Don't be a complete asshole, and then get back to it.
That's good advice.
Yeah, sometimes that mental release is key too, Yeah,
it's a big part of it.
Or you could do like I did, where I took 1 week off from the gym and it turned into 11 years.
You came back.
That happens.
Yeah. All right. From Type 11X, how would you troubleshoot causes and manage hypotensive episodes, positional and otherwise, during hard dieting? Fluid intake is sufficient, and there are obvious PD inclusion causes.
I mean, my first suspect, as I mentioned earlier, would be clenbuterol.
Mm-hmm.
You could also, I see a lot of guys that are dieting and on prep that end up hyponatremic.
Mm-hmm.
That is a problem, especially if diuretics are in play. A lot of times there are a lot of electrolyte imbalances, potassium, magnesium. Potassium seems to be less of a problem because everybody's on telmisartan these days. So you're going to have additional potassium retention, but I would say probably clenbuterol would probably be the most likely suspect if I were to. Or are you really going hypotensive? Are you getting is your blood sugar going hypo? I mean, that's another thing that happens on prep too. So yeah, I would look at that. I would maybe grab a blood panel, see if your sodium levels are in place. I know clenbuterol also can deplete taurine and magnesium, if I recall correctly.
So taurine especially.
Yeah, so you need to supplement taurine and magnesium while you're on clenbuterol. Those are other potential causes. Josh suggested getting a full cardiology workup, but I would say probably the most common culprit I see is clenbuterol and electrolyte imbalances, because the guys are just jamming a bunch of water. They drink a bunch of water, and I often see hypotension. Or people go hyponatremic, low sodium on blood work during contest prep. I see it all the fucking time. Like towards the end, guys have low sodium.
Especially if they're adding in things like sauna and just like sweating more than they think they are. Yeah,
very true.
It can happen pretty easily.
Drinking the gallon jug of water. Filtered water is another one too. because it has no minerals in it. Zero. I usually try to have, I don't know how much of a difference it makes, but I usually try to have guys drink spring water or smart water. Or just regular old fucking tap water. But like the filtered water, like Aquafina is filtered. The stuff that comes out of your refrigerator is filtered. All the, you know, pretty much all of the minerals that are in there are going to be filtered out. Make sure you're salting the shit out of your food on prep. I also see a lot of problems with people using, this is a wild one. I never really considered, is there's the sea salt craze.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people end up deficient in iodine because they don't have any, the salt they were eating was their only source of iodine. End up with thyroid issues as well, hypothyroidism because of low iodine. Just use regular, I like using light salt. It's iodized, so you're getting your iodine. It has sodium and potassium in it. And then supplement in some magnesium glycinate, and then probably some taurine while you're on prep. And that I would suspect that's probably going to fix a lot of it. You drink smart water or spring water or just regular old tap water, and that should maybe cut down the dose of clenbuterol. That would be my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and Josh also suggested to eat pickles.
Pickles work.
Drink the juice.
Clen protocol. I talked about it earlier, but I usually use the lowest effective dose. I think when I won my pro card, I went up to 80 briefly, and I came back down to 60. 60 was fine for me. Got the job done. Like it's not a more is better thing. There's a right amount to get the job done, and don't go anymore.
I do see some guys that have been using retatrutide too forget to drink their water. You know, they kind of have that, they get behind on their water as well. So, you know, that's another thing to stay hydrated. Like Amy says, you know, you're hitting the sauna, you're doing plenty of cardio, you know, you're really pushing the water coming out of you. So basic stuff, stay hydrated.
Yeah, that's another thing too. People, there's a counterpoint to that too. Sometimes people are drinking too much water, and they end up depleting all of their electrolytes, because especially sodium, because sodium follows water. Wherever water goes, sodium goes. So, you know, you so think about that. Too much sodium, and you retain water. Not enough sodium, and drinking too much water, you end up flushing out all of your sodium, and then you end up hyponatremic.
Yeah, it's going to happen with marathon runners who don't use electrolytes. It can be really dangerous.
They die.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that post-marathon syndrome, I think they call it, where people finish marathons and then they drink a gallon of water because they're so damn thirsty, and then they end up further flushing out sodium, and they end up with these going basically they high potassium, low sodium, and end up having fucking heart attacks and dying. So yeah, and that has happened at bodybuilding shows, because guys will end up using diuretics, which most often are potassium sparing and flush sodium on top of it, and so dudes end up severely hyponatremic and then hyperkalemic on top of it, and that's just a good way to fucking die. I was sitting there talking to the paramedic at the show recently about it, and he didn't even know that. I'm like, because they give, you know, what do they do when somebody passes out? That's how, I forget which bodybuilder it was that died. Momo Banizia, I think it was. I can't remember that guy's name. It was back in the 90s, where the paramedics gave him a potassium and sodium solution, and the dude ended up fucking dying. So really, probably the thing they should do is give them just a saline solution to rehydrate them. But anyway, yeah. Sorry.
I think I've heard Milos tell that story, that they were gonna pump them full of potassium, and that would.
Well, yeah, I remember Milos saved somebody one time from that.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for a couple more? Got just a couple more left. Let's get this one from Carlos. Paul, what biomarkers led your doctor to diagnose type 1B diabetes? My doctor suspects I have the same thing. I'm super lean, low fasting insulin, normal OGTT, but 3 slices of pizza and my blood glucose goes over 250.
Well, my doctors for years told me there was nothing wrong. So yeah, there you go. Fuck them. I ended up doing the testing myself and presenting it to the doctors. So if that tells you anything, and even then, even after that, I was told that no, you have type 2 diabetes, and I'm like, I'm 8% fucking body fat. You really think I'm type 2 diabetic? 8% body fat? Do you think that's an issue? And really, the telltale sign is low fasting insulin. There's also C-peptide, I think is the test that you can do. I believe that's the one you can tell if that's an indicator of insulin production.
Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here because my internet connection is getting wonky, and
Okay,
I
man.
have a dinner reservation coming up. So
enjoy, Mike.
Yeah, have a
All
good
right.
time, dude.
We'll see you.
Yeah, so C-peptide. C-peptide is a substance produced by the pancreas at the same time as insulin. Measuring C-peptide helps determine how much insulin the pancreas is producing. So yeah, you can have your C-peptide levels checked. That's usually the first step. You can to determine if it's type 2. They can also do a glucose tolerance test as well. To see what's going on there. But yeah, the C-peptide is kind of, but I would say the first indicator is high blood sugars with low fasting insulin levels. That's kind of the canary in the coal mine. And you'll also see it as well on blood panels. A lot of times when people end up having high triglycerides, that's usually not type 1 or type 1B, but type 2 if people are insulin resistant. So like if you guys are ever looking at blood panels and, people are like, oh, my A1C is great, but my triglycerides are in the 200s. That is usually a sign of poor glucose metabolism. Your body is spewing out lipids to compensate for high glucose levels. And that's sort of like a precursor to running high glucose levels. So a lot of times, like, people will think they're fine, even though their A1C is fine and their glucose levels are fine. But I would also be on the lookout for high triglycerides, and in that case, if you have high fasting glucose or high fasting insulin levels, that's also a sort of a warning of pre-diabetes, that you have some insulin resistance going on. So that's another thing to be very, very aware of. So I honestly, like, if I see high triglycerides on a blood panel, I'll tell people to go get a fasting insulin test done. Doctors often will say, well, this isn't necessary, but doctors tend not to be out ahead of problems. They react to problems after they've spiraled out of control. If your A1C is fucked up, if your A1C is fucked up, that's probably you're too late. Like shit's already, you're already behind the 8 ball at that point. Josh says that trend decrease my trend improves lipid and glucose metabolism. You'll see people go hypo when they get on fucking trend. I see it all the time. Carlos, your trigs are in the 60s. Yeah, so that's fine. That means you're not insulin resistant. But I would get your fasted insulin, have your doctor, or you can go get it done, your fasting insulin levels done, and get a C-peptide test done.
Yeah.
Good advice.
I had Tanya's question start, but it looks like Dave answered it so thoroughly that I'm going to move on to the next one. But I did thank you, Dave, for answering that.
Sure.
So this is from Ricky Robinson. 5 weeks out from IFBB Classic Physique Show, thoughts on Reda on peak week with regards to effect on carb loading. He has nationals the week after. So back-to-back shows.
I yank it. I've been yanking it.
I heard Skip really talking a lot about his experience, Skip Hill with Retta, and he found the same thing. Like he really struggled to carb load with it.
Yep. I know the science says that it shouldn't do it, but that's just been my anecdote and something I was concerned about. I look, I just play conservative. It's 1 week, like, so it's 2 weeks. So I yank it 2 weeks out from a
You'd
show.
almost have to get it out of, I mean, the half-life is so long on these GLP
5
medications.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be at 25% after yanking it for 2 weeks by the time you get to the show day.
Yeah.
Paul, what have you seen on what have you seen on people with their gastric emptying though? When they pull that, do you see people have a better stomach control? That coming in on them, or
yeah,
my thought process is, you do feel a little full all the time on the Retta.
It does seem like it takes a while for that to recover. Like that's more than a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wonder if it's permanent.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, any type of peristalsis slowing down, I mean, it can take a long time for your body to come back on track, regardless of the reason. I mean, even after, bouts of anesthesia, people can really struggle to get intestinal functioning back online. And, obviously that their gastroparesis it can be a lifelong condition as well. So those things, once they are triggered for whatever reason, can become problematic. I think too, I mean, depending on the amount someone needs to load, I mean, just even if you were doing things to kind of increase peristalsis on peak week, like doing some senna or other types of stimulants, like that, you could end up almost chasing it. Why not just take it out versus then trying to do something to increase, the speed of gastric emptying, and then maybe needing a laxative, and then you're drawing water into the colon, which is also going to blur the look. So I just feel like it could end up kind of compounding on itself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you take it out,
you could be hindering your nutrient absorption too by trying to chase it with, like you say, some senna tea or something that's going to help kind of clear out that from colon or your GI itself. That's a good point. I didn't even think of it that way, because some guys got to really push crazy amounts of food. It's hard enough as it is on that peak week.
Yeah. All right. That was a good question. Quick one from Johnny Cook. With the Primo and mass shortages, what are your favorite compounds to run? Alternates.
There aren't a lot of choices. I will tell you this, and this is just something, once again, I'm a student of observation. I've seen a lot of people, including pros, come into their shows this year not looking so good. And I think there's a lot more fake Masteron floating around than people think. There was I don't want to name names, but I definitely saw a pro last week that looked pretty terrible on stage, and he's talking about how he didn't do anything different on this prep than he did on his previous prep. And I have to wonder, and I've seen it with my own clients. I've had multiple of my clients that weren't progressing on their preps, and I'm like, man, something's not right. We go get the Masteron tested, and it turned out to be Test Prop or Deca. I had one that had Deca.
Wow.
Yeah. I have not seen any legit Masteron in months.
Good thing I stocked up a long time ago.
And yeah, I have to wonder, there's been a lot of people coming in this year not looking so hot. Really, I mean, the only thing you're left with that's a substitute for Primo Mass would be Equipoise. That's it. Really.
And I think that's a pretty good selection too. I mean, you're looking for something that's going to be another anabolic agent that'll help in that facet and maybe help with your estrogen control a little bit. I mean, Masteron seems like a easy swap.
Yeah, I mean, what are we left with? We're left with Equipoise that has a similar effect, and then on the other side of the spectrum, we have Tren and Nandrolone.
Yeah, maybe you can make an argument just for straight DHT if it's cosmetic you were looking for the effect in the prep. I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I would probably, I mean, Anavar seems to be still around, although I wouldn't want to run Anavar for 16 weeks. I mean, really, there's not a lot of choices. Probably what here's what I've been doing is equipoise and Proviron and Anavar. That's what I've been having guys do. That's an alternative if you can't. So that way you're getting the effects of the DHTs drying you out. But yeah.
When do you have them start the Anavar? How many weeks out?
6 to 8.
Just for like a short kind of coming in hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
I like I usually what I'll do is swap the Anavar for Winstrol. It's 2 weeks out. I don't like starting Winstrol earlier in guys that are over 30 because of the joint connective tissue problems. It's one of the, and I didn't know this, from what I understand, one of the reasons why Winstrol makes you look so hard and paper thin skin is it lowers collagen synthesis. From what I understand, so that's part of it, and it really has a strong effect on mineral retention. So you're going to flush fluid really strongly, and then it also seems to be pretty potent at lowering estrogen on top of it. So all of those things together are not great for your joints.
Yeah,
that's why you feel supposedly it completely smashes synovial fluid production as well. Is what I was told.
Yeah, I was going to say you couple that with crushing your estrogen, and it's not a fun sensation, that's for sure.
But that lowered collagen synthesis probably leads to the paper skin thing. It's also why a lot of guys end up looking really. You see the guy, like, from what I understand, I think Master Run has a similar effect. But you notice the guys that run Master Run year round, they end up looking fucking old as fuck. You ever notice that?
Yeah,
their skin looks terrible. They get like this. They look like a 70-year-old construction worker.
Oh, that's that lack of collagen.
Yeah, that. I don't know if that's what I'd want. I don't know. That's one of the downsides. I hate getting into this whole fucking Master On debate. Like, it's a great contest prep drug. It is a tool in the toolbox. I don't find it to be better or worse than anything else. It has a certain job that it does well, and there's certain things that it doesn't do well. And then I yank when I need the screwdriver, I get the screwdriver out. When I need the hammer, I get the hammer out. Right. So I kind of look at Winstrol as the sledgehammer that you use at the end. Anavar is more like the ball peen hammer. So those are my terrible somebody's asking me, and this is another one that drives me nuts. Have you ever heard of any of your clients run DHB? I'll give you my warning about DHB. I have had multiple consult calls with people that have really fucked themselves up with DHB. I'm talking about ALT, AST over 1,000. I'm talking about GGTs, 300-400 on DHB. Why the fuck would you run something like that ever? And equipoise reduces to DHB, so just run some equipoise. I mean, it's a very small amount, but I think you're absolutely insane if you're running DHB. That's just my 2 cents. I wouldn't. That I don't know if I would say mint quite on that level, but all these obscure, highly toxic compounds, I just look at a cost versus benefit analysis. Like, the risk that you're taking is way higher than any potential benefit that you could get from it. There's some people that tolerate DHB. I've seen some guys tolerate it, but I even the guys that tolerate it end up with 200-300 ALT, AST, even running low doses. Somebody's talking about Todd experimenting with it and found no toxicity. I don't think I believe that for 1 second. I've just not seen that be the case.
Yeah, I can't speak to it. I haven't used it. Nothing about it really interests me, to be honest. I'd rather keep things simple.
Just run some equipoise if you want. the DHP. It's probably the safer. I mean, whatever, do whatever you fucking want. I mean, it's your body. I'm all for running whatever you want. I know I will not be adding it to my protocols. And I think I get my guys. I don't know if you've seen my guys this year. My guys have all looked great on stage. Every single one. I've had my guys shredded and not one drop of DHB on prep. Not using mint. Most of my guys, not all, most of them aren't even using Tren. Just very simple stuff. Test Primobolan. If they can find Master on, great. If not, we use Equipoise. A little bit of Winstraw. We run the Winstraw hard and fast at the end, the last 10 days, GH. And then just diet hard. Be ready. And then we fill back up with food going into the show, and then just a little bit of water manipulation at the end. That's really the formula. It's not rocket science. All right, what do we got next?
That's pretty much everything. Somebody's going to be reaching out to you soon for coaching. Arshario. I did want to also show this one from, there it is, from Tanya. Yes, Tanya. Can't imagine what it's like for women out there who are wanting to go the enhanced route and rolling the dice right now. Test your gear.
Yep.
It's a little easier for the guys. There's a little more leeway if you get something that isn't what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be a lady thinking you're getting Primobolan and you got masked, or you are getting Primobolan and you're getting Test Prop or Deca instead.
Yeah.
That would not be good for a female competitor. Not good at all.
Yeah. Wild West
All right.
out there.
All right, folks, that's all I got for you. Thank you to each and every one of you for your support. We love you. Even the guy that canceled my channel, I love you too. You probably need a hug more than anybody else. I wasn't trying to hurt your feelings, my friend. Just work a little harder. And I'm here to help you out if you actually want help. We'll get you in a good place. Big hugs for everybody. We'll talk to you guys. See you next week.